Hello, welcome to the Daily Live Extra. Joined by John.
Hello, darling.
We will be discussing Hannibal Mejbri, who is a deal apparently close, but when you say close means he's got
close and closer.
Well, I think it is close, but it's close between two teams, so it's literally down to the player going. Do we?
There's no money, have we?
For loans we have, which has always been the case. We've no money for going and buying players. But we'll have to wait and see. The player himself will make the decision, apparently. So,
I think it's going to be increasingly difficult for us to have a sob story if we've got no money, don't you?
What's the sob story for?
Just generally, it's better for the opposition, the people you're negotiating with, to think you've got less money than you have, isn't it? We should have played those cards when we had money. You know what I mean? Hard negotiators rather than throwing money at things. So what do you reckon? What's your gut feel?
Of what he'll do? Probably take the easy option, which is Spain.
Yeah.
Even though if he looks at it.
So where's that pull of the Premier League then?
Well, it's not even that. There's lots going on at Seville.
Yeah.
Really. They're in a worse position, far worse position than Everton as well.
Yeah.
But that's up to him, isn't it? I mean, you know, if he wants to go there with all that's going on, just to get some sun on his back and that. Fair play to him. It's up to him, isn't it, at the end of the day? Yeah. And what they might say to him, maybe Everton won't do is you'll play every week.
You'll play. And then once you're there, there's nothing you can do about it if you don't play, is there?
No.
We probably told Dan Juma he was going to play.
Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And then turn our attention to someone else, I guess, if it doesn't work. But I think if Everton did get him, I think they would then be allowed to. They'd allow Gomez to go. Then I think less wages, obviously.
Yeah. So your net upside. Yeah.
So the upside, yeah. But we'll see. What's your gut feeling on Amadou Onana this month? Obviously, noise around Arsenal. But if Everton were to sell him, and I don't think they will, but you never know.
What do you mean by sell?
Sell him.
Not this crap loan.
Well, if Everton loan him, then the club is finished, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
There's no financial
finished. There's no
benefits of that.
And I don't even care if someone says, yeah, but in the summer, if you loan him now, Arsenal can pay another 10 million in the summer. We might lose that by getting relegated.
Yeah.
So, no. What would be the least for you that Everton should be looking to get for him?
That's a difficult question, isn't it?
Because I've seen like 50 million. It's
Everton, right? Everton, right? Not how much is Onana actually worth?
Yeah.
Right? You know, when I'm hard negotiating with Everton, I think, well, if he was playing for Club X, I'd have to pay this, but I might get away with less. That's the sob story about you've got no money, right? And you can, you need to be robust, don't you, when you're negotiating? So I just look at what other players have gone for.
Yeah, well,
I think there's a premium on DMs, isn't there? Particularly if they're young with high ceilings.
Yeah.
You've got to look at someone like Declan Rice and go, well, that was 100 million. And he matured, didn't he, almost overnight from being almost like a West Ham player who West Ham fans thought was great, and lots of us didn't see it.
I saw it in the last year there.
No, I'm coming to that, right? And then all of a sudden, you see it. You know what I mean? And I think he's on that cusp. I think to Everton fans, we've seen what's there. We can imagine him. How many times do you find yourself saying in a game, you know, if this guy was in a good team with better players around him, how good would he look? But the thoughts that he'd go to Arsenal, that's not what they need, is it?
No, I mean, overall he'll need it, but it's not. I don't think it's what they need right now.
75.
Yeah, see, that'd be about mine. I look at Casado,
and that's actually as a number, not plus add-ons that get you to that.
Yeah.
It's 70. And I was going to go, Casado's the answer. Well, clearly Chelsea overpaid for him, so you got to recognise
massively,
that as well.
massively overpaid for him.
But you look at the players who've gone for 50-ish, and you think he's better than that. Yeah. And the other thing from a negotiating point of view as a club and not being legged over, we need to recognise that on an assumption Onana goes before Branthwaite, you're setting your stall out for what you expect for Branthwaite, because it's going to be more than whatever we get for Onana.
Oh, you've got, without a shadow.
And I think
that
20-30% more.
Branthwaite,
So that's 100 million you want for Branthwaite.
And people can laugh at that, and I'm sure lots of people will laugh at it, but he's a 21-year-old left-sided centre-back who's a proper defender, good on the ball, and there's a dearth of them in world football.
Oh, you read my tweet, did you? I did. Tweet.
No, I didn't.
I did this. I don't know whether it was yesterday.
Being on X or whatever.
And I said something. I think it was again when they were talking about clubs who were interested, type of thing, like Branthwaite. And I said, well, I'm sure there's going to be lots of clubs who'd be interested in a 6'5" left-sided central defender who's got vision, is good on the ball, and has pace.
Exactly,
but I put in there his age with a wink. Would be interested in a 23-year-old.
Which
is next year.
I mean, Everton's game plan.
Depends if he gets in the Euro squad.
Everton's business plan should literally be Onana this summer, and then
next summer.
Make sure it's next summer at the kind of like earliest they consider it.
Because what he needs, him being Branthwaite, he needs an England cap or two just to top off his value.
He might get that in the summer.
That's what I mean. If he goes the Euros and has a great performances there, we might struggle to keep him because some silly bits might come in. The Arsenal thing doesn't make sense other than they're being speculative and thinking, can we go early and get him on the cheap?
There can't be any kind of issue with loan. It's just nonsense.
And when people start talking about 777 have approved this player, they like him, that's an interesting one, because it would be interesting if under the covers Everton's recruitment team or the leadership are making use of resources at 777 for opinions on players. Or you just think it's shit stirring and it's no, I think if Everton were to let Onana go in this window, it needs, because it's a very, very large number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and none of this, you can have it in the summer stuff. I mean, Arsenal, you've got FFP problems. Join the club. Why should we help you out? The only way we help you out is that within this financial year or very early in the next financial year, we get a lot more money than we would get if we sold him to someone else. So you have him now.
If you take him now, we'll have Smith Rowe, please.
Yeah, maybe people were getting confused. Maybe Arsenal just want to buy him and they'll immediately loan him back to us. But I don't think that's allowed, is it?
No.
You can't buy Premier League players and loan them back to the club, can you? So, But Smith Rowe, we'll give you.
We'll have someone on that, we're doing that. But we need the money. There'll be no. We haven't got a defensive midfield player like Onana, so we can't. To me, it's a lot of noise about.
And the people creating the noise seem to have overlooked that our other DM is either injured or away, potentially for the month.
Amadou Onana's agent, who's his sister, being in North London and taking pictures of where she is and all that. You don't need none of that stuff. And Everton should be like, listen, whatever comes in this month, bid for you. You ain't going nowhere.
I think it's fine.
So
people interested is fine.
That's good. Well, that's what you want. You shouldn't be scared of that, because it's a sign of your players. Probably will only get better.
He no disrespect
and again,
to Arsenal.
Go in the Euros in the summer.
Yeah, no disrespect to Arsenal, but Onana should be thinking, I can go somewhere where I'm more likely to win trophies than Arsenal. Not necessarily in the UK, not necessarily in England.
Might win trophies with Arsenal if he goes there.
He might.
That's what he'll be thinking.
But the smart money might be in those trophies somewhere else.
Who's got the money, though?
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
Real Madrid, I've got other, the talks over Mbappe and stuff like that. Yeah, he'd look great in that all-white kit, wouldn't he, with Jude Bellingham alongside.
We need a rumour that he's going to City. That's what we need.
That's what you need. But City, we've got Rodri, who's the best defensive midfield player in world football.
They suffer when he's not there, don't they?
Yeah, but you couldn't buy them. You could have Onana just for the...
You can't have him as a reserve.
Calvin Phillips.
More a Grealish, I would think, where he gets game time, but he's not first choice.
I just don't think City won't be looking.
They're more likely to come for Branthwaite next summer.
More likely.
When's John Stones' contract up? Maybe we just grow centre-backs for City. Yeah,
that's all right, as long as they
every 3 years they give us 100 million.
They recompense us with a big number, then that's a sustainable way for us until we get where we want to be. Yeah, isn't it?
It's just, I don't know where the rumours start, apart from people doing photographs and stuff, but no mainstream people are talking about it, are they? Or not that I've seen anyway.
About
Onana.
Well, it is out there, but it's only out there because Arsenal are struggling and they're looking for fixes. But the fix should be Ivan Toney, really, if they want to try and win a trophy.
Sounds like they can't afford him, doesn't it?
Well, they can he? Yeah. They're trying to sell Nketiah and someone else, aren't they, this window? Again, Mikel Arteta might come out and go, that's a load of nonsense, we're not signing ourselves. That's dooming the
Listen,
rounds.
creative deal making, let's just set aside the noise for a moment. That results in an Onana going to Arsenal. I'm sure there's a creative deal there if both parties wanted to put the shoulder behind it. Because you would be perhaps looking at saying, well, if we send an Onana one way, quote, on loan, this is what we need to come the other way in the same transaction. And it might be more than one player, mightn't it?
Can't though, can you? Unless
have we got slots?
Well, you can only loan 2 domestic players.
And we've
got Jack Harrison.
We've already got Jack, so we can
only
have
one
so that doesn't work, does it?
No.
Yeah. Or we'd have to do a deal where we buy somebody and don't pay for them till July.
Till July, yeah, when that money comes in. So.
You know what that's called? What I'm just describing. That's saying no, but making it sound like yes.
Yeah,
to
but
Arsenal. Yeah.
Arsenal don't have anyone in the defensive midfield role that could do what we need. No. So I'm where, again, this deal would look different if Everton had 26 points.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you go, well, we're going to be all right.
We can get through this.
We're going to be all right. And if they're offering a big pot of money now and we can get this player in and that player in, or that allows us to be ready to go on day one of the summer transfer window with him, and him who we've got lined up. And that, then you play that off. Right now, we're in a precarious position. And even though I think Everton will be comfortable,
still got to wait the outcome of that points thing.
But we've still got to play the rest of the season, and until we can get 10 points ahead of Luton, 12 points ahead of them, and be clear, then you're always going to be looking over your shoulder, going, "How are they getting on?" I mean, they playing Burnley this weekend.
Yeah, if they win,
we're back in the bottom. It's at Burnley. So if anyone's to win, you'd hope it'd be Burnley.
Well, you would have expected us to beat them.
We don't want anyone. Do you? You want to draw?
Yeah.
Some need, and that draw puts them level.
We also need to can't second guess what might happen to Forest, can you? Points.
Well, exactly. And we'll get on to all that in a minute, but just quickly,
it's silly season. It's a week into the transfer window. Absolutely nothing's happened with anyone anywhere. All the vibe is that most clubs, even the big ones with huge revenues like Arsenal, have got PSR challenges or FFP challenges or both, and therefore you've got to create some stories somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. The Fans Forum wrote to the PGMOL
I saw that,
at the weekend.
It's an interesting one.
Well, I was going to say, just very briefly, what were your thoughts on that?
Maybe it's a bit abstract, my thoughts. Yeah.
Okay.
Because as a fan base, we have to keep going to the well, don't we? Right? And maybe down the track, we have to go to the well on bigger subjects than this 10-point thing. Yeah? I think the 10-point thing, I think we're right to keep the pressure on as a fan base generally. The Fab are doing the meeting, aren't they, on Sunday with Steve Rotherham and Andy Burnham. So I don't know whether that's coordinated between the Fans Forum and the Fab. I know the PGMOL thing is about DCL, but that's been resolved now. Do you know what I mean? So my first reaction was going to the well from a fan activism thing on a subject which is fundamentally, I know it's about refereeing in general, but it's specifically about the DCL thing, which was always going to get turned over. Maybe our efforts as a fan base should be on keeping the pressure on around the 10-point thing, which is what the Fab are doing on Sunday. So I suppose if I'm being horrible, it washed over me a little bit of, it's nice to send something. And yes, you get your response from Howard Webb said, "I'm speaking to my colleagues," which I don't quite get, to be honest. I'm speaking, it sounds like a stock response type thing. And let's see if the Fans Forum get an invitation down to Stockley Park and they can see how it works. But I don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Okay.
What's your view?
Well, my view was,
I think it's good that our groups are doing stuff. I don't know, rightly or wrongly, whether it can be coordinated in a way where we're all going in the same direction. Yeah. That's not critical. Okay. Sorry, sounding critical, isn't it? I don't mean it to be. Yeah.
No, I thought it was good. The
letter itself I thought was
because
good.
For the simple reason that we've
Baz and Tony obviously spent some time crafting that.
Yeah. But I think for too long we have just shrugged and gone, "Oh well, it's Everton, innit? It's what happens."
I'd be interested to know what Everton think.
I'm sure Everton encouraged it as well, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? And there was obviously a video going on social media which showed
We should have sent bloody Howard that.
some terrible leg-breaking challenges on Everton players. Not one of them resulted in a red card, and yet we saw our centre-forward being, which is correctly being overturned now. I mean, that took long enough. Sent off the other night for a normal tackle. But anyway, I spoke very briefly to Fans Forum Chairman Barry Williams on why they have sent the letter to the PGMOL, and here is Barry's response.
We decided to write to the PGMOL, so specifically Howard Webb, because basically, you know, me and you, Baz, you sit in front of me. The past few weeks, we've seen decisions obviously go against Everton that aren't consistent with other teams. So we think now it's right to highlight what's been going on, because obviously we could have gone like over the past 3-4 years, but we thought it was better to focus on the now, because obviously we've started releasing audio as well. So we sent that to Howard Webb on Saturday about 1 o'clock, and then, to be fair to Howard Webb, he's responded to us. He emailed me yesterday saying he's acknowledged it, and he's gonna discuss it, you know, with the other referees, and, you know, hopefully come back to us with some feedback. We will give him a bit of time on it. It just depends like what he comes back with, because obviously we're not just gonna sit there and take it lightly with what he comes back with, because it's not really fair that we're getting these decisions against us and they're not consistent with, you know, other decisions in the league. Like, for example, Onana's the foul on Onana at Tottenham wasn't given, but yet 3 days later, well, a week later, there was a decision given for exactly the same against the same Tottenham player, and that's where we feel inconsistencies. Obviously, it's good that Calvert-Lewin's red card's been overturned, but that doesn't cover the bad decision that we've had against us. So we thought, on behalf of the fans, it was right to now write to them, and we'll now await a response, and hopefully we get a decent response, and we can share that with the fan base when it comes back. So any further info we do get, we will post on social media to keep fans updated. If we don't receive a response within like a certain time frame, what we'll do is we'll chase it up with Howard Webb again, and possibly try and sort a meeting out to try and get some sort of proper answers as well.
There you go. Cheers, Baz.
Good one, mate.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I thought it was good. The fact that we do need to start addressing this. For too long, as Barry said there, we could have picked stuff over the last 3 or 4. I mean, personally, I could pick stuff over the whole history of Everton Football Club and being done by officials, but we could have picked stuff over the last 3 or 4 years where we've been massively wronged. You know, I mean, now that we have a situation where Brighton have had 8 penalties this season, and Everton haven't had that in the last 4 seasons or the last 3 seasons. So
is that more about us than that?
It's more about refereeing decisions.
Is it?
Well, when you've got 2...
I don't know. I haven't seen all the penalty decisions.
Well, they got a penalty for the same thing. Onana didn't get a penalty for at Tottenham 3 days later with the same player. So that tells you, because
the same, though, was it?
There's a perception. Well, he had all of his shirt. It was exactly the same. Doesn't matter what happens, whether Onana goes down, doesn't matter. If I pull your shirt, it's a foul. It's a penalty. End of.
But the Brighton player didn't have hold of the Tottenham
Onana didn't. Doing that is like saying...
There's a picture of him on top of his arm.
No, if the lad has got a shirt like this, that's a foul.
No, I don't disagree.
If I go like that and you pull my shirt, you're fouling me.
I don't disagree, but I think...
no, it was exactly... It was, and I could name... Barry named 5. I could name 25 Everton could have had this season.
I think generally, though, and I'm being serious now, right? If we as fans say those two, just one example, are identical,
absolutely identical.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and I don't think they are.
Yeah, but
no, yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter.
That's your opinion. This is my opinion,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
If Onana has got his hand on the Tottenham player, and there is some, let's be polite to the PGMOL people, right? There's some cognitive bias against Everton that allows them to say it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Hang on a sec, right? I know where you are, just this is where I am,
go
right?
On.
So we then start saying to the officials, right, they're exactly the same. We didn't get a penalty, they did. And they're like me, but they're not exactly the same. And Everton fans are going, yes, they are. And it's crystal clear they're not, because you just look at 2 photographs.
It's crystal clear they are, but
well,
that's your opinion, but I'm saying it is.
That's what I'm saying, right? Put the 2 photographs up on screen right now, side by side, and we could argue for the next 10 minutes, whether they're identical or not. But at the end of the 10 minutes, I'll be saying they're not identical, and you will be saying that they are, right? So what that means is, if you're the VAR official, right, and I'm the referee, and I miss it,
Okay, just show me, in that incident, what is not.
Can everyone see this?
Well, it doesn't matter, because it takes 1 second. Tell me what's not identical about that.
Okay, right, okay. But
pulling a shirt, 2 arms out. Pulling a shirt, 2 arms out. Literally identical. The same player 3 days apart. Identical. There isn't, in fact, I honestly couldn't draw a picture that is more identical than that. And one was a penalty.
Where's that picture come from?
That's what it is. There's literally a whole thingy about it.
I understand.
The VAR decision, it's fans furious after spotting VAR error. If that isn't...
I'm being really stupid here, and excuse me if I'm being really stupid, right? But that picture there, which has got our shirt on it...
took place in the game that you were at.
No, I know.
Yeah, so what? Go on. I'm going to send it to Ned so we can maybe put it on the screen.
I can't do it now, but...
I'll give you it right now.
Where's the picture? Sorry, I'm not in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
Where's the picture with Onana having his hand?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because that's.
It does. Of course it matters.
João Pedro, who got. Was it João Pedro? Mightn't have been Joe. Whoever it was, Welber. Whoever done the same as what Onana did. Yeah. And then the action to move towards the ball, the shirt was ragged. And that is what they are. One was given and one wasn't given.
I get it. But we talk about this all the time. If you take a freeze frame, or slow it down like DCLs, right?
But that's what the VAR looked at, though.
Okay, but the pictures that were in the media immediately afterwards are the ones, and I think Ped knows this because we've had this debate before, where Onana has got hold of the Tottenham player. They both got hold of each other. If you then allow that to progress for 0.2 of a second, and Onana's let go, but he's still got hold of the shirt, and then you freeze frame and say, there you go, they're identical. It's context, isn't it? You've got to see the moving pictures, right?
But VAR don't use the moving pictures.
Okay, so they froze their picture when Onana had hold of him and said it's 6 or 1.5. It's all very subjective.
That's the point. They're taking from the VAR thing, both of them.
Yeah.
And that's the point that the penalty was awarded at. I could stop a million corners.
I know.
Right?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
He's got hold of it.
I'm disagreeing.
There they are. There's the picture will be on now.
Okay, fair enough.
What was given.
Yeah, but I'm disagreeing with they're identical.
Okay, the audience can look and decide whether they think that's identical or not.
You've frozen 2 pictures and said, are they identical?
I haven't frozen them.
That website.
I haven't frozen them.
That website has them.
This was the thing that was up immediately. This was the thing.
Right.
You can ask Ped. I'm not interested. No. If your eyes don't tell you they're identical, then I don't know what to tell either of you.
Then. Let's leave it.
Yeah, let's leave. The audience will tell me now whether it was a penalty or not.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But for the life of me, I'm not going to go surfing the internet to find
I haven't...
Hang on a sec. I'm not saying you have.
Took me 1 second.
No, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Find a photograph with Onana with his arm on the Tottenham player, because I know it's there, but I'm not going to look for it. And then I could say, well, we'll have that left-hand picture. Number, is that Welbeck, is it?
I don't know.
Who's number 18 for Brighton?
Is it João Pedro or is it Welbeck?
Right.
Welbeck. Pedro scored the pen, didn't he?
Whoever. If we then put up alongside that picture and then the one where Kulusevski and Onana are a lot closer together and Onana's got his arm on the arm that he's got hold of the shirt, I'd say they're not identical, and I'd talk to your audience and say, go on, they can decide, and they'll conclude they're not identical because they're different photographs. So it's all context sensitive about what was happening in the moment. And all I've picked you up on is the phrase, they're identical. They were both penalties.
Everyone in the comments is they're identical.
Well, they will, looking at those pictures. They will, of course they will, because those pictures are designed...
I'm going to back away. Does someone want to sit here? Because my head's gone here.
Well, okay, he's got pictures to put up. And I guess we're going to see different pictures now. 5.
Right.
Is it all? You best have the Brighton one here, by the way.
No. Like, the what I said to John last week...
Oh, my God, my head has gone here. Sorry, I think I'm going to make
different games.
A decision. I think I need to go to Specsavers now, right now, because my eyes are obviously Mind you, though, I've heard opinions on. I've heard opinions on some players, by the way, and Frank Lampard as well.
What's that?
No. Some opinions on what people see is. Yeah, go on. Where's the next one?
Is that not it?
Well, we can't see.
It's the same one, which was both Stonewall penalty.
Ped says it. Ped says he sent you 4 or 5 photos.
Ped sent you some. We'll see more in a minute.
We'll waffle while they find the pictures. The reality is both of them were penalties, right? And it's the inconsistencies that you debate.
I know, but they were identical and I'll tell you why they're identical. Because at the point where Kulusevski pulls the shirt is the point where they decide it's a foul. If we're grappling in the box, they will go 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I get that. Of course.
At what point do they decide it's stopped being grappling and become a put?
So the minute, I'll tell you what the point is. If we're standing and the ball's dead and I'm grabbing you and you're grabbing me, it's both. The minute I motion towards a ball and you yank my shirt, it's a penalty, right? Yeah. And them pitches are both taken at the point Onana moved towards the ball and Danny Welbeck.
Do we know at what point they made the decision?
That was it. Because I'm watching the game at real time. They're talking in VAR. They're talking the Spurs game.
Right.
And I was like, that was a penalty. Whatever happened, they got cleared. They never said anything. Right. They went back to it. And whoever it was who was there was like, that is a penalty. Because Onana's moved towards the ball, he's been dragged down. That's where it is.
Who said that, sorry?
Whoever the co-commentator was on the day.
Not the VAR people.
Well, VAR did it? Because we didn't get it.
Right.
Right? So you're saying to me, well, if you've got your hand on them, then they're both doing the same thing. I get that if that's right. They're not doing the same thing.
In that moment.
It's shit. Okay. Right. If the ball isn't live, right? And this is a rule I don't agree with either, by the way. He hasn't kicked it, so it's not
having his hand on that Kulusevski wasn't in a non-live situation. It was during the movement, the play, wasn't it?
No, not when the ball coming. Because he's moving to get away and he's pulled. If I'm moving to get away, no player.
But all the grappling goes on in the precursor, during, and immediately after the corner, doesn't it?
Okay, so they're never a penalty then, are they?
Well, I say both of them are penalties. I'm just disputing that they're identical.
Okay.
Because the other one, the if you like, the attacking player never has a hand on the defender, so they're not identical. There's no wriggle
in that.
Yeah.
In the game, he did.
Well, I don't know. I'll go to the game. I don't watch them.
So you can't say it isn't identical, then, can you? I've put it.
But you show me a picture. Okay, you show me a picture there, and are we going to see Peds, by the way? The picture. Okay, he hasn't got them, Ped. So the one on the left, right, is a player where the defender, I guess that's the guy in the grey, yeah, is facing in the same direction. He's pulling him back, i.e., he's moving away from him. The one on the right, the defender has clearly got hold of the shirt, but the defender the player Onana is behind him, who's moving away, presumably, because that's what's stretching the shirt, right? So we're getting into a hot thing about me.
I'm not getting into it.
I'm not either.
I'm not getting hot. They're identical. There's no difference. They're identical.
Fine.
The ball is curling in Everton's corner. Okay. Kulusevski's goal side. Grabs hold of Onana, rags him down as the ball comes in. Yeah. And in that one, the ball's curling out and Welbeck's running. Kulusevski's not goal side. So that's why the angles look different. Yeah. He's doing the same thing.
I get it. And I said a few minutes ago, hopefully not 10 minutes ago, that we could talk about it for 10 minutes. At the end of the 10 minutes, you will say they are identical, and I will say, no, they're not, right? And the word is identical. They're both penalties. All I'm saying is when you get into the cognitive bias thing with referees, which is what we're talking about, which is why Baz and the fans forum have written to Howard Webb, blah, blah, is there's a load of evidence here that something is going on with referees where if we're polite to them, we say they're cognitively biased against our team, right? And all I tried to say was if we use, if you like, subjective phrasing or provocative phrasing like 2 identical incidents, that one, they got a penalty, this one we didn't, then it's easy to defend that argument if you are the officials by saying they're not identical, and they could give you a load of reasons why they're not identical, because it's very, very unlikely anything that happens in football is identical to what happens somewhere else. It can be similar, it can have the same outcome, but it won't be, and I know I'm being pedantic, like in legal terms, it won't be identical. And therefore, I'll always say that on this thing, that's it. But they're both penalties. And I think the fans forum are right to try and get some understanding from Howard Webb as to why, if it was isolated, a one-off, we'd hear the crap, wouldn't we, about these things balance out over the season, all that rubbish. But if you produce 20 bloody evidence saying that was a penalty, we didn't get it, that was a red card against us, which was overturned, this, and you go through it all, I think it's reasonable to say, please explain to us why this is happening. And why is it, particularly when Pawson, is it Pawson? How do you say his name? Particularly when Pawson is involved, right? And then you get, whilst Neil Warnock said, well, he doesn't like Everton, does he? Is that just Neil being provocative because he gives lots of red cards or he gives lots of decisions against us, therefore, in quotes, he doesn't like us? Or is he not liking us and that's what's driving his decision-making? And that means that people like Howard Webb or whoever does the allocations should be saying, you know what, mate, we're not going to give you Everton for a while because there's reasonable doubt there about whether it's balanced or not. Isn't there? About that referee. And they haven't got enough referees, clearly, have they? Because they keep recycling referees who make huge failures of decision-making. They really do. If you look at... Cavanagh's got two big games. He's got City and Newcastle. And then Man United and whoever they're playing.
But they've stopped that, haven't they? They've stopped that all day long.
Stop what?
Banning them, putting them into...
Yeah.
They don't...
Presumably because they haven't got enough referees.
They must have enough referees. They can't be this bad, can they? In everything you see. We saw one in the FA Cup at the weekend, Millwall and Leicester. Tom Cannon runs through one goal and the lad shoves him in the back and the referee gives a free kick against Cannon.
Would VAR have given that?
Well,
because we're into this.
Depends if you were in the VAR room, John. For me, there'd been a penalty.
Well,
but there you go.
But both of those would have been penalties if I'm in the VAR room, right? I'm just debating. Wish I hadn't now. The use of the word exactly the same. But what's happening?
I'm not going there again. I'm not going there again.
But what's happening is people are saying get rid of VAR, then, aren't they?
These
issues won't go away, will they?
No, they won't. They won't go away.
There'll be more of them.
They won't go away because they're using referees. And the minute you start using referees in a VAR room and you're using people who are mates with people who are refereeing the game, you're in massive trouble. Yeah. You're in massive trouble. Referees are bottlers now.
Well, Kavanagh, the only mistake that's it. The only mistake he made was letting the other bloke convince him it was a bloody red card. Why didn't you just say no? I was right there, I saw it.
But that was because he didn't, did he?
No,
bottled
I know,
it. He absolutely bottled it by going listening to Craig Pawson, who shouldn't be allowed. And the football club, for me, are at fault here. And I know people will go, well, I don't know whether he can say that. He wouldn't have it. Klopp wouldn't have it. Klopp wouldn't have Pawson anywhere. If they'd have done to them what he's done to us, he wouldn't be allowed anywhere near.
Why don't they just publish the transcripts?
And Moyes was absolutely spot on. Moyes was spot on when he went after Clattenburg and went, he does not referee another Everton game. And he didn't referee another Everton game until Moyes had left Everton. I think. Well, that might be incorrect. No. I don't think he refereed another Everton match till Moyes had gone. I think it was 7 years or something before he got another
Imagine Premier League clubs did that.
Yeah, but...
all of them, I mean.
Yeah, but if you...
No refs would ever get a job, would they?
No, but it'd have to be... You can't just do it if a ref has one bad game against you. No, of course not. You can't, but Craig Pawson's got a list.
He has. He needs to never go near Everton ever again.
But Everton have to chase that up, don't they?
Well, actually, yeah, but it's a bit like... it takes two to tango, doesn't it? Howard Webb's got a brain. I assume.
Well, he didn't in the World Cup final.
I know, but he's reasonably pressure and all that, right? But I mean in the cold light of day stuff. So he's got reasonably intelligent man. He's quite articulate, right? To protect the integrity of the organisation, which he's the chief refereeing officer, whatever he's called.
Yeah.
Never allocate Pawson ever on any Everton game for a year.
But if no one highlights it though, John, right? Then they might not think about it,
That's my point. If he's good at his job, and the job he's got, he should do that off his own bat, whether Everton ask him to or not. Yeah. And it's actually better if he just does it. He just says to Mr. Pawson, you know what, mate, we're not going to give you Everton. Don't worry about it. We'll give you these other games instead. Now, Pawson, when people do the stats about all the things he's done wrong to us, has anyone done it's rhetorical, right? Has anyone done stats about whether he's equally crap with another club?
I don't know.
Or is it really very obvious? You know, if he's sent off, I'm making it up, if he's sent 10 Everton players off in the last 10 years and he's only sent 20 players off in total, I think we might think he's got a thing about Everton.
Someone done.
But if he's sent off bloody 10 West Brom players as well, you know, he maybe...
Someone done, I don't know whether it was...
The stats must all be out
I'm feeling
there.
like it is Craig Pawson, because I'm feeling like it was a few days after the derby where someone done like a thing of like his last 20 Liverpool games and he'd booked like 4 players or something, and his last 20 Everton games he'd sent 5 Everton. Something mad like that. Now, that they might take them with a pinch of salt, right? 6, was it? So take that with a pinch of salt, because I can't remember the exact thing, but it looked, when you just looked at it like that, it looked like, wow, they're mad stat. Like how?
Odd. Yeah.
But I know just off the top of my head. I remember when he sent Jagielka off at Wolves on day 1 for winning the ball.
Tell me.
Now, okay, it's football has moved now where that probably wouldn't, the way they do it now, it probably would be a red, but it hadn't got there in 2018. It was day 1 at Wolves. Molyneux were winning 1-0, but in total control, and it's great. And he got sent off for winning the ball, and in them days wasn't.
GCL just got sent off for winning the ball.
Well, exactly, but there was nothing there, and that didn't get rescinded either. And he couldn't wait to send them off, and that was the first time I really noticed him. And then we've had bad decisions from him a lot of times. I think he might have anyway. But the Konate one that in October, you know, the game's 0-0. He sent Ashley Young off. Now we can argue. Well, we can agree, or we can go, well, whether those 2 yellows for Ashley Young deserved the red card, right? If you're playing letter of the law, he probably did, so he was right. That's fine.
Except loads of equal, in quotes.
Oh, yeah, well...
Sorry, fouls which are exactly the same.
Well, yeah, well...
Didn't result.
Simicast done one 2 minutes after and didn't get booked. But anyway, but if that's what you're doing, you're doing it. So then his perfect opportunity to go, hands are tied there, mate, you've been booked and you've just got a professional fight, you've got to go.
Set the bar, yeah.
Then what could anyone say that
Nothing.
night? No one would say. People might have gone, oh, could he have just accepted it was a derby and allowed it? Well, if he'd have done it to Young, then I accept him doing it to Konate. He didn't. And he had 2 opportunities. Sorry, he had 1 big opportunity to go, there you go, and there you go.
Young was easier not to give the second yellow because there was going to be a sanction anyway, wasn't there?
So it's just it's that thing, but I don't know whether that would be in Howard Webb's like line of sight. That portion keeps doing Everton over. Do you know what I mean? Unless someone raised it. If it was C United or Liverpool, it might be in his sight, or City, because it might become a thing where they go, hang on, why does he? Because the press, if it was United, it mightn't be Eric Ten Hag who says it, but the press would take it up because they've got enough journalists to go, hang on, something fishy going on here. Yeah. If it was them, Klopp would say it, 100%. No problem with him saying it either, but he'd say it and it'd be a thing. Pep might say it if it was City, because he might go, we've always have history, or let it out that there's always history with this ref. Unless someone actually turned around and said...
See, Everton's style in the past, right, under... I mean, people who were there before still cast a shadow, don't they? Because culture doesn't change overnight. Yeah, is if they're doing that, they won't do it publicly. Yeah, which means we don't know it's happening. Yeah, which is wrong actually, because football without fans is nothing, and the people you
but other clubs do it.
Yeah, the people you want on your side are your fans. Everton have had for the last couple of seasons fans go in the extra yard with all the protests, dragging through the relegation stuff. We actually started this debate about the fans forum are still going to the well because they sent the letter. The FAB are still going to the well because they got the supporters meeting on Sunday morning, right? With Steve Rotherham and Andy Burton, so potentially a bit political
over the deduction.
But the 2 metrics are fundamentally about the 10-point deduction, because all that's gone quiet as well. Now we know that pre-appeal discussions were supposed to start in January. I don't know if they have started. Clearly, we've seen today Paul Joyce has said who's the KC, who's representing Everton, right?
As he named them.
Yeah, he's a very good one, apparently, right? So that presumably means they're getting ready for pre-trial discussions. Pre-trial's what Phillips called it, yeah? And, we've already done our submission around our, reasons for appeal. Why we think it's wrong, I guess. And then it's going to get debated, and then we'll hear a result. But, we were lucky, it'll be February, won't it? Meanwhile, Friday, so next Monday, presumably next Monday, the Premier League are going to issue a statement saying, X number of clubs are okay, and these ones are not, around PSR for the last financial year. Everton are still saying there's no chance whatsoever that we're going to be the ones who are not. But the little bit of doubt in my mind is they were being very positive in that way last time. Yeah. So if the goalposts have moved again, who knows? Let's hope we fill the form in differently this time, you know. But
what's your gut feeling though?
Honest to God,
Don't know.
Simply because if you take what Everton tell you at face value, because you trust in the actual individuals who do the telling to us, we believe, don't we? But they only know what they're told. You know, and I was in a meeting, you know, I've been in meetings with the club where they've talked about where they are with FFP and all this sort of stuff, and even saying they had a very, very good defence for this commission that we went through.
Yeah.
But when you see the transcript of it, you say, well, it didn't look very good to me. You know what I mean? And we look quite naive and stuff like that. But this KC is supposed to be very, very good. He's one of the top silks. You know, so he's not just a KC, he's one of the very, very top ones.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean necessarily the 10-point thing. I meant for the next season.
Yeah, well, that's another potential point deduction, isn't it?
I think,
we know, because we've talked many times on this, and we're going to do a BWB sometime, aren't we?
This week.
Not that we'll get too wound up about numbers, because you can't have anything accurate, because things like exactly what might come into conversation and stuff. But we know that the so-called crazy years are all falling off. So every year we expect, or we should expect, as long as we're not going crazy with money, which we know we're not, outside of the stadium, that we should be easily satisfying the requirements easily. We'll get the stadium funding stuff in the right boxes, you know, and all that jazz. And we know, because we can see, we're not buying players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're not necessarily giving out crazy contracts, although clearly some contracts will have been uplifted. We know we've sold players. Gordon will be in the mix, won't he, for example? Yeah. So it's hard to see how we're anything other than comfortably safe, right? Then again, other bloggers would say it was borderline, whether we're safe or not. But and then you get someone like Paul has said, well, actually, no, some other things have changed, and therefore we should be way comfortable. But everyone puts the word should.
Well, seeing something Kieran Maguire, something Kieran Maguire had done. Don't know whether it was last week or the week before, and he said Everton should be. I think it was probably when that headline came out that Everton will be getting looked at again, even though he did say anything. Yeah, everyone's being looked at, it's not just Everton. And he said they'll be comfy.
But all those clickbait...
But everyone said the same, like you just said. He said they should be fine.
Yeah, but all those clickbaity things, and, you know, and Kieran does podcasts and stuff like that, we're always going to attach Everton to anything. Because we're in the middle of the process.
Do you think in this process, and you might say, yeah, they should be, but to me, who obviously I don't profess to be, you know, going over the numbers and working them out and obsessed with the finances and all that, and you know,
as fans, we shouldn't need.
I know minimal thing about it. I'm not really that interested in it. Really, my interest is on the pitch and what we're doing.
One impacts the other.
But it feels like it does. But I mean, the players and who we're buying and who we should be buying is far more interesting to me than spreadsheets. But I just find it incredibly unfair the way they do it anyway. That if Everton have failed it like last, you know, as we did,
well, we admitted guilt.
We've got to. Yeah, well, whatever it is, they've concluded we've breached it. Fine, but I think it's incredibly unfair that year will drop off and they look at the next thing and include 2 years we've been done for, and then they keep that going. Now I don't know. I haven't come up with a way how you correct that other than year by year, which I think is probably a fairer thing. But then I don't
fail
know.
Anyway.
No, well, that's fair enough. Well, if you fail, you fail. But I do think, I don't see how you should be punished. Like how Everton have been punished for 3 years, a period over 3 years. One drops off, and you know that them 2 years, and so they punish it again for those. So I just think that's a way I don't think it's fair personally.
You know, I try to avoid reading their handbook because it's way too long and it's...
But I just mean the principle in general.
But the principle about what the handbook says, which is the rules, right? And the rules say that, which is your point. So you have like year 1, year 2, and year 3,
Yeah.
where the most recent year is year 3.
Yeah.
Then year 1 falls off.
Yeah.
Year 2 becomes year 1. Year 2 becomes year 3 becomes year 2, and then you've got a new one.
Yeah,
New one, right? And the rules say if you fail in a 3-year segment, and then you fail the next 3-year segment, so I'm trying to keep this simple, I suppose, then they decide whether they're going to punish you or not, rather than it's an automatic punishment.
Oh, okay.
So the rules allow for double jeopardy. You're not going to get punished for the same thing twice.
Okay, because I think that's correct. I don't get me wrong, if it was like Everton lost 70 million over what they could have done in year 2, because that'd stay on it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then in so the next model, Everton have lost 70 there and then lost 100 in year 3. So you're going, well, hang on, you're still like jumping over. Do you know what I mean? If you're still creating big losses, but if there's clear evidence that the next couple of years you've dragged those losses right down because you're going, I just think it's incredibly unfair then to punish you again.
No, I understand, and I take it. I'll stand corrected if necessary, because again, I just, for the life of me, mate, I can't be a bit like you.
Yeah.
You know,
It's getting boring, isn't it?
I may be more interested in you, but not so interested I'm going to print them off and do one.
No, of course.
But again, if there's wizzos out there who know this exactly, don't beat 10 bells out of me.
Yeah.
But if you look at someone like Notts Forest, right?
Yeah.
Who clearly have not been in the Premier League for 3 years.
No.
So what happens there then? So I think they take a simplistic view that says you're allowed 105 million of losses, right? That's like 35 million a year. Yeah?
Yeah.
So in year
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
if year 1 you were in the Championship, if year 2 you're in the Championship, and year 3 you're in the Premier League, we give you 70 million for the first 2 years, and another, and then what you really do in the 3rd year.
Right, okay.
So what that logically means is, when you come in, if it's true what I've just said, if you come into the Premier League like that, you're already, if you've had losses of more than 35 million in those 2 years in the Championship,
you're
already on the bubble.
You're in trouble,
right? You're already in trouble. So I think if we went in, I might do this when we finish, right, and have a quick nosy at what the losses were in the last couple of years for Forest. Then we may find, because they were buying their way out of the Championship, that they were always going to get done. And they thought that the answer that they would have, and this is more than a game one, I suppose, but the answer they should have is to sell some players, and they can't. That's the gist of it, isn't it? So I don't think there's a double jeopardy issue.
Okay.
But I think what would be really interesting, which is why when Everton issued their statement about this is unjust and disproportionate, we look with interest at what happens next. If Notts Forest's defence is really going to be, we fixed it by selling a player, but we sold the player in the next financial year, then the KC should just brush that away, as he did with some of the things we said, and say, no, sorry, it's this year that counts, not you sold him. You know, that's why Everton sold Richarlison.
Yeah, at 23.59.
In the correct financial year, right? For you to say you sold Brennan Johnson at a time when you thought you'd get more money, I actually have some sympathy with them, right?
Yeah.
Because what Forest have tried to do there is do the right thing, not do things right. What Everton did was try to do things right and still got slapped.
Still got done anyway,
right?
Yeah.
Because this rule is supposed to stop you going out of business.
Yeah. No, I know.
And so having fire sales of your best players just so a spreadsheet looks okay is not what it's all, or it shouldn't be what it's all about. So we've said for a number of years, in fact, back to Ryzantsev's days when he was saying it's all getting changed to be more sensible. And it did get tweaked a little bit because owners can put a bit more money in. Don't forget, he's being the Forest owners allowed to fund some of those losses. But so we're never going to know exactly what's going on, but we can assume if he does the maximum he's allowed, whether they're still going to fail or not.
No, it is.
And so we'll know all that next Monday.
It must be tight, mustn't it? Because
for Everton or for them?
For Forest, because we know they've been talking. We were told when October that they were talking to the Premier League and were in a bit of trouble.
And Wolves as well. But we haven't heard.
No, Wolves has gone a little bit quieter, but Forest people are still mentioning, so we'll have to see.
Some legacy media are talking as if it's not if they get done, it's how much they get done for, isn't it?
We've had a couple of things back from the Craig Pawson stuff.
Good, that was well done, someone.
At Stephen Will, W has said Craig Pawson's been involved in 24 Everton matches. Everton's record, 1-5, drawn 6, lost 13, and he's issued 5 red cards in that. Raf fan has sorry,
That's just about Everton, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want to know what Portsmouth does in other games.
So Belfast Toffee knows has said. So
one,
yeah,
lad.
24 Everton games. Portsmouth has issued 41 yellow cards, 3 second yellows and 2 straight reds. In 38 Liverpool games, 45 yellows and 0 reds. So that was what we were saying. Don't know what he's like.
But you
Liverpool.
do the stats, wouldn't you?
So he's done 24 Everton games and 38 Liverpool games. So more Liverpool games he still hasn't sent a player.
Half as many again.
Yeah.
Games.
A third,
but
isn't it?
Where
third.
is he on the
Right.
bookings? Which is more relevant, I think.
So in another 14 games, Liverpool he's refereed, they've had 4 more yellows than us in 14.
Okay. But they're a much better team.
Raf Fan has always said he's never sent a Liverpool, Manchester City or Manchester United player off
But they're
in
all
any game. He's
dominant teams who are less
I know,
likely.
but they still put tackles in and they still
No, I
do
understand,
things.
yeah.
So, I don't know.
If you did a trend analysis on it, right, of everything he's done in for all clubs, it would be interesting if we stick out.
Yeah.
Because if we stick out, he's got a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
People.
There are teams who are a bit more basic than us.
Yeah.
Who you would expect to get more
Of
yellows.
course.
and
Listen,
more
I'm not defending.
teams who are not, and so on.
I'm not defending
But if he bobbles
every
along,
Everton yellow.
No, I understand. But if he bobbles along, right, with all the clubs, and then there's a big spike round Everton.
Yeah. Frank Brady said it's 13 million a year in the Championship you can lose.
No, I'm talking about how they reference what they lost.
Oh, yeah, but what he's saying is so it'd be 13 plus 35. So Forest went over the 61 million off that basis.
Theirs is 13 a year.
In the Championship.
So as they didn't get done in the Championship, they must have been below.
So year 2, yeah. So but the last year in the Championship, 13, they could have gone over, but they're out of the competition, aren't they?
Oh, I see.
So they wouldn't be done like Wolves.
Yeah.
But they escaped with the thing. So what he was saying was, if they went over 61 million losses, they'd be in trouble. But we know they've spent something like 300 million or whatever it is.
God knows what they've spent on.
So that's probably why journalists are going, well, they are in a little bit of a pickle here, where maybe last year, even though they spent a lot of money in the first year, they still had the 2 Championship years, so it gave them the opportunity. I don't know.
If this is the year we're talking about.
But now they're getting
the Premier.
they're getting
we're talking about their first year in the Premier League, aren't we?
Yeah. But he even spent a ton in the summer again, didn't he?
Yeah.
He bought about 40 players since they come up. So that's maybe why that's journalists are going, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know, do we?
And as we heard a rumour, true or not, that part of their defence is we sold Brennan Johnson, right? And they sold him, 50 million or something?
Yeah, something like 40 odd. Was it? I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
if they thought they needed to get income of 40 to 50 million pounds to balance the books, and they've done it in the wrong financial year, then they're going to get hung out to dry, aren't they? So they're going to try and mitigate around, we did it, but we did it in a different year.
Well, yeah.
And that's where Everton
But you would do, wouldn't you?
But that's where Everton have a particular focus.
Yeah,
Say,
but you say what you have to say, don't you? Don't forget to like and subscribe. On the Hannibal stuff, people say I missed the start, but it's a decision for him now between Sevilla and Everton. If he wants to go to a slightly warmer climate, he'll choose Spain, won't he? The thing is, it's not just an easy swap because there's issues going on at Sevilla that aren't great. Ramos arguing with fans. The 16th, I think, in La Liga.
They're struggling, aren't they?
I think they've won 3. Did you say 3 games, Pat? They've won 3 games of football all season, and it's whether he's got whether he's got hopes of being a Manchester United footballer. I would suggest he should stay in the Premier League, but
you would you think if the club tries to influence where he goes, it's better for United if he stays in the Premier League?
Probably because they get a better judge on whether he can cope. If they're gonna sell him, you'd have a lot of Premier League games. You would have thought.
Yeah.
Where La Liga can unbalance it, still play, and you might get interest from Spain or whatever to buy him. And it's still a good standard. It's not like he's going to play in Holland instead of playing in a top 5 league. But I just think for him personally, in terms of the level he's at, Everton would be a better option for him because can you get up to speed? It'll come down to who promises him more games, I imagine. Because he's on the bench at United, so there's no point being on the bench at Everton in the same competition and not playing. Sevilla might be like, we're going to play you most weeks. You're going to end up with another 20 games here. Where I don't know whether Sean Dyche would say that to him, because when everyone's fit in Everton's midfield, does he get in? Well, I don't know, because I don't know what level he's at. He looks like he played 41 times for Birmingham last season in the Championship and in the Cup. He's played 5 for United this season, but he only started 1 game, but he has scored a goal this season. So it's a tough one, isn't it?
He's got to... long term, it would be, you've got to prove it in the Premier League.
David says we can't sell Onana this window.
Spot on, mate.
But John is right, the January sale would have to be 75 million plus.
Oh,
yeah.
Plus add-ons, absolutely.
Glenn said I'd swap Onana for William Saliba and Declan Rice. There you go.
Actually, when I was in the shower this morning, was thinking, you know, if we come in and you get asked the question, what about this fantasy story about, you know, go on loan and then 50 million in the summer or something because of their PSR challenges? Yeah, that's no problem. Loan fee would just have to be about 40 million.
About 40 million to sort it, yeah. Tazul says it is about time he brought attention to these refereeing VAR decisions going against us. Started in the first game of the season with a disallowed goal against Fulham, and it's just carried on since.
What I'd like, and notwithstanding, I think, just close that loop. Fans Forum have done right, sending the letter.
Yeah, they've highlighted it now. It's all they can do, isn't it?
But I be good if we'll have a word with Baz perhaps and see if Everton's Fans Forum can join up with their counterparts at other clubs. Because remember where we were 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months ago, whatever it is, when they're all, including the dipsticks who come to good and say, cheats, we know what you are. You be the cheat tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? The issue is the refereeing standards just aren't good enough. Yeah. And focusing on what are you going to do, Howard Webb, to make it better. You've had your honeymoon period. You said that VAR were not going to referee games. Well, you've just overturned a decision on DCL where it's crystal clear that the VAR official held sway over the on-field official who got the decision right. So walk the talk. And I think fans in the round, our focus should be to try and set aside tribalism about where the hard done by ones, even if we are, yeah. And minimally, the 14 need to get together and say, there's an issue here where a rebalancing is needed. And I don't know whether that includes bringing in foreign refs or whatever, but it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If you fly a ref in who then referees a game slightly differently.
I don't know.
There's a question there.
I don't know whether they'd think about bringing foreign refs in.
Well, I was going to say, I say foreign refs just because they're not British, if you like, but if the Premier League's supposed to be the best league in the world, one assumes it plays referees more than anyone else. Why isn't the top German or French or Italian referee wanting to play to ref in the Premier League?
Yeah. That is mad.
Maybe they just don't do it that way. I don't know.
Yeah. Some people saying the penalties are exactly the same. John Hickey said, well, it's not a case of one. The point is, VAR had used the arguments on his hand, but it's at what point you stop it.
That's the point.
Nobody gets the shirt pulled and puts their arms. My point is that if you watch any Everton thing, watch Tarkowski on Sunday when the Villa players have got hold of his shirt, he doesn't go on, he goes like that, or he'll grab it and
totally agree.
But the minute he makes a run and you pull a shirt, that's a penalty.
When we were doing
you're getting impeded.
Yeah, when we did cover this at the time, and Ped did have a picture with Onana having his arm on, I think I was saying, it's like he's trying to push him off, if you like.
Well, that's what they do.
But the point is, I suppose, is this allows the subjectivity with VAR, where all this, personally selected freeze frames to say there's the excuse. Like the excuse for sending DCL off was, he scratched his sock. There's contact. Yeah. Fernandez's penalty in the cup. Wigan.
Oh, yeah.
There's loads. I've heard pundits going, that's definitely a penalty, that. And you're thinking, well, how many times do you have to look at it to even double check he touched him?
It is mad. It's mad.
And so players will choose. Players will go down and make decisions. And we know what happens now. VAR look at it, and if there's any contact whatsoever, it's a penalty. Yeah, well, just tell everyone. Any contact whatsoever.
Rule changes need to be made, but they won't.
They do. Well, it's not rules, interpretation, but I know what you mean.
A lot of people loved the the discussion, John.
Well,
Lots of
yeah.
people.
It's good when
Kevin,
we
this
don't-
is why I love Toffee
when we
TV. You
don't
boys
agree.
are class. That's good. What was I going to say? James says loan rules changed. It's not too domestic, not too foreign. No, I know they changed, but you also said we're only allowed to register two players on loan when you can register 7 international players on loan.
Can you?
Because they're not loans. They're seen as short-term permanent deals.
Oh, are they? Is that how they interpret
short-term
them?
things.
So you can have 9 players on loan then? 2 domestic and 7 non-domestic.
This has come from a football agent who cleared it up for me of how many loans you can have.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So it's, where's the thing? Hang on. International loans aren't considered as loans anymore. More a short-term transfer under Premier League rules.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
So there you go. It's that.
The domestic ones aren't classified that way,
Domestic loans are loans, but they're not classed as a short-term transfer.
even though both things are exactly the same.
Righty though, John. Nothing's identical.
see that coming, did you?
Nothing's identical, apparently.
You didn't see that coming.
There you go, yeah. Yeah. Jenny, we'll see, won't we? We'll chat in May.
You need an agent on Inside the Game.
We'll chat in May to see whether we were comfortable or not. There you go. But that's what, isn't it? The Blues says if I'm a ref, I'm not moving country just to say I've refereed in England. I'd rather stay near my family and do the job anyway.
Bring your family with you and get paid lots of money. Like Jordan Henderson.
But they probably just sit. It's probably nowhere near as bad. Well, it isn't, is it? We heard De Zerbi saying England's the only place that has an issue with VAR.
Yeah. That's why refs
not
aren't
like
coming.
this anywhere else.
That's why refs aren't coming. The top German ref will come here and say, VAR keep messing around with my decisions.
Well, but that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that VAR isn't, I mean, we keep saying it. VAR isn't the problem, is it?
No, it's the people.
The technology isn't the problem.
the
All
people.
it's doing is showing pictures, isn't it? It's just showing you some pictures. It's going, that's what's just happening.
And that's why if you suspend VAR, you've still got the same people.
But we did get a lot of people over the weekend saying, because a lot of FA Cup games didn't have VAR, and going,
At least we know.
football's amazing without
better.
VAR. That's what people were saying.
I mean, part of the
Score a
game-
goal, as the lads got a flag up, no, I can celebrate.
Absolutely,
Let's
yeah.
wait for 2 minutes while he'd look to rule this out
Yeah.
any way they can.
What do you think about...
We do need to wrap this up.
Yeah,
don't
no,
we?
but just one last question.
Go on.
Because it's on that subject. What's your view on same competition, different rules?
I think it's nonsense. Me and
Totally.
Pat talked about it yesterday. It's
Yeah, I missed
absolute,
yesterday's.
absolute nonsense.
Complete nonsense.
If you haven't got it in every ground, it shouldn't be in the competition.
Yeah. Madness. Complete madness.
I think it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. 2 games, Everton versus Liverpool. Parsons had 2 games, apparently. He's booked 7 Everton players and given a red card for 2 yellow. So it was at this game, wasn't it? Liverpool have had 2 bookings.
Were both those games at Anfield? See how you can put layers on it?
I don't know.
No, it's rhetorical.
I don't know.
You can put layers on it, can't you?
Both games are at Anfield.
Well, that's influence of fans and things, isn't it? So
Who was the... doesn't matter now, but I was going to say, who was the referee when Anthony Gordon should have had 2 penalties at Anfield
don't know.
that one? I wonder who the ref was in. I don't know who was. I'm not
That's where we
saying
need
was it
Pat.
him. I'm just saying I wonder who
Pat will
it
have
was.
all this, won't he?
Yeah, we'll see. Right, we're going. We'll be on More Than a Game in 9
One of those
minutes.
sexy links where it just happens.
Ned'll do it there. Just stay on here, get a drink. 2:15. Come over there. There'll be lots of other discussions. Let's see. Right. Thanks for watching.
Cheers,
Subscribe, like, do all of that. We'll be back tomorrow. See you later. Bye.
Ciao, bye.
Oh, the phone.